Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum viewers. My name is Professor Dr. Rizwan Jameel Qureshi and I am covering planning phase techniques. In my last video, I covered the cost estimation techniques and I covered the schedule displaying technique. In today's video, I am going to cover the make by decision technique and I am going to cover the risk exposure regarding the planning phase. So make by decision technique is used by the customer. For example, there is a decision tree for a software-based system X. The customer has options. He can go either for internal software development from scratch, line 1, scratch means line 1, or he can go for reuse of existing components if he has in-house team, or customer can go for commercial off-the-shelf software. We call them COTS, like SAP, Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics, or he can sign the contract with the software company. So he has options that which one is the least cost. So make by decision technique will help the customer that which of the option is the least cost. The formula to calculate the cost is expected cost is equal to path probability multiplied by estimated cost, sigma, path probability multiplied by estimated cost. So that means there is a decision tree and there are branches. Let's take an example. We have built, reuse, buy or sign the contract to the software company. Simple, difficult, 30%, 70%. Probability is always out of 100%. 0.3, 380K. Difficult, 0.7, 450K. And minor changes, major changes in case of reuse. And then there are further two branches, simple and difficult. In case of buy, the commercial off-the-shelf components, COTS, minor changes, major changes, 70%, 30%. In case of signing the contract to the software company with changes, without changes, 60%, 40%. So let's calculate the cost. Expected cost to build 0.3 multiplied by 380K plus 0.7 multiplied by 450K equal $429K dollar. Expected cost to reuse 0.4 multiplied by 275K plus 0.6 multiplied by, there are further two branches, so we have parentheses here, sigma, the path probability multiplied by estimated cost, 0.2 multiplied by 310K plus 0.8 multiplied by 490K equal 382K. Expected cost to buy the commercial off-the-shelf components equal 0.7 multiplied by 210K plus 0.3 multiplied by 400K equal $267K dollar. The fourth option, expected cost to sign the contract with the software company, 0.6 multiplied by 350K plus 0.4 multiplied by 500K equal 410K. So we have calculated the expected cost by the four options customer has. So as we can see very clearly, it's very obvious that expected cost to buy is the least cost method. So this is the way customer can calculate the least cost and he will go for that. Then the next technique we use in the planning phase is the risk exposure technique, risk estimation technique. We have different type of risk, project risk, technical risk, business risk, social risk. So we have a formula to calculate risk exposure is equal to path probability multiplied by cost impact. So we will calculate an example how we calculate risk exposure in case of the new components, the technical risk if they fail. So we have risk exposure for a project if 70% of the software components will be reused from the 60 selected components. That means total number of components equals 60. Out of the 60, 70% will be reused. That means 30% new components will be developed from scratch line 1. Average code for each new component is 100 LOC at the cost of $14 per LOC. So we have a risk of failure of these new components. The probability is 80%. So first we will calculate how many new components we are going to develop. So let's solve the exercise. We have total number of components 60. There are two options to calculate how many new components. The one way 0.7 multiplied by 60, 70% will be reused. That means equal 42. 60 minus 42 equal 18. The second way to calculate new components, the 30% is the new components. 0.3 multiplied by 60 equal 18 components. Then we will calculate the cost impact of those 18 new components. So 18 multiplied by the average code is 100 LOC at the cost of $14 per LOC. 18 multiplied by 14 multiplied by 100, that is the expected cost we are spending to develop those new components. The risk exposure, the probability is 80%, 0.8 multiplied by the cost impact 25200. That means $20160 will be the cost if these 18 new components will fail. So in this way we will calculate the risk exposure for all possible risks. These are the planning techniques, planning phase techniques. Now I am covering analysis phase techniques. Analysis phase main techniques are requirement gathering techniques, requirement modeling techniques, and we have data modeling techniques. In my last video, I covered the requirement gathering techniques. Today, I am going to cover them with the advantages and disadvantages of those techniques. So how many requirement gathering techniques we have? We have two. Types are there, traditional and the modern. How many traditional are there? This is the question. We have 5 traditional requirement gathering techniques are there. We have interview, we have survey or questionnaire, group interview, observation, study system documents. And interview has further 2 types. We have planned interview, unplanned interview. The main benefits of interview technique, more clear requirements can be gathered, complete requirements, helps to identify the champion of the project. You have to find which of the manager is supporting to develop the new project. So the interview is the best way to find the champion of the project, that from the customer side, who is in support of your project, who is in support of your company to develop this software. The main problems of interview technique, they are time consuming, they are cost consuming, and people are afraid from answering because maybe they are victimized. To provide the correct information, they always hesitate. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of interview technique. Then we have main benefits of questionnaire technique survey. They are time saving, cost saving. Time is saved, cost is saved. Large number of users can be covered to collect the requirements. So these are the main benefits, advantages of questionnaire or survey technique. Let's discuss the main problems. Main problems of questionnaire technique, people don't take them seriously. This is normal. People do not fill them properly. Most of the information is vague. Sometimes we have 5 options: very low, low, nominal, high, very high. Majority will select nominal, so you can not go either way, plus or minus. Extra time is required to understand the answers and have clarity. Details of information cannot be queried. This is the 5th problem of survey technique. You cannot ask them question because these are anonymous. You don't know who filled those forms. So it's very difficult for you to extract information. People don't fill them properly, do not take them seriously. People sometimes they don't understand and they put neutral. So you cannot take plus, You cannot go to negative side that they are in support of the new system or they are against the new system, and you need to spend extra time to understand the data, to analyze the data, to extract something out of those survey technique. Then we have group interview. This is the third technique of traditional requirement gathering techniques. Group interviews are best suitable to conduct if you cannot arrange individual interviews because of time availability or availability of the people. So you use the group interview because you cannot take individual interviews. Open house discussion help to achieve common requirements, agreed on common requirements. These are the main benefits of group interview. Let's discuss the problems of group interview. It is difficult to arrange people at agree on common date, common time to be present from software company side and the customer side. Because of that, video conferencing technology sometimes help you, but it's difficult also for you because the immediate bosses are sitting, so victimization chances are there. So that is the reason group interview is not suitable for requirement gathering. Then you have observation. Main benefits: time is saved to prepare questions. Unlike interview or survey technique, you just go to the customer side, you observe them. The problem: you cannot use them as standalone technique. You have to use them with unplanned interviews. Then they are beneficial. Study system documents, the fifth technique of requirement gathering. It helps to understand the main features and key business processes of the current system. Main problems of study system documents: there are two types of documentation normally exist. We have formal system and we have informal system, according to Jeffrey Hoffer. So you have to understand the formal version of the system and you have to find out the informal version, the deviation from the actual system. So you need to understand the both systems to extract some information, and that needs extra time, extra cost, extra effort. So these are the 5 requirement gathering techniques with their benefits, with their problems. Then we have modern requirement gathering techniques. There are 3 modern requirement gathering techniques. We have prototype. Prototype has throwaway prototyping, and we have evolutionary prototyping. We have JAD, we have GSS, group support system, joint application design. Main benefits of prototype: they are time saving, cost saving. So time and cost are saved. More complete user requirements because of use of prototype approach. These are the main benefits of prototyping. You cannot rely them. Main problems: you cannot rely them or rely on prototyping technique because sometimes end users they want to fail the system and they deliberately misguide you, because it's not possible for the top management to attend so many prototype sessions. So normally low level management, clerical staff will attend the prototype. They have maybe job threat that if system will be developed, they will be no more in the company or they will be fired. So they misguide you. They deliberately wanted to fail you. So they will give you wrong requirements, and these are the problems of prototype. So this is sometimes they are become the source of failure of the system. So you cannot rely on prototyping technique in terms of end users are there, not the top management, because maybe in front of top management they say no, this is not what we agreed. So you don't have any documentation because you are listening to the customer, you are developing the demo, you are evaluating by the customer, again you are listening, so there is no documentation involved. So you don't have any proof for the wrong requirements the end users have provided you. Then JAD, main benefits of joint application design technique: more complete user requirements because you are using prototype during the JAD session and all levels of management are sitting, so it will help you to agree on common requirements. Main problems of JAD: they are costly, and because you have to arrange a business hall in 5-star hotel and you have to arrange key people from customer side and the software company side. So when the JAD session is conducted, no work at the software company side, no work at the customer side, and low level people are afraid to talk in front of immediate bosses are there. There is a chance of victimization. It is not possible to arrange the JAD session again and again, and few people are more talkative, they will lead the session. So these are the main problems of JAD. Then you have GSS. The main benefits of GSS, most of the JAD problems are eliminated in group support system. This group support system, they are more productive because everybody can contribute because they have terminals and there is no chance of victimization, and there is partitions and comments are coming on the projector screen. So these are the main benefits of group support system. Main problems, they are costly because you need to arrange business hall, you need to arrange terminals, you need to arrange partitions like the cyber cafe or internet cafe. It is not possible to arrange GSS session again and again because we can develop once in the life of system development. So these are the main problems of group support system. So we have 5 traditional requirement gathering techniques, we have 3 modern techniques, and we cover the benefits and the problems of all those techniques. Then you have requirement modeling techniques. We have structured modeling techniques and we have object-oriented modeling technique. So there are 2 types of requirement modeling techniques we have. In case of structured, we have data flow diagrams, and we have data flow diagrams have context diagram, the first level, and then level 0, then level 1. So we can go up to 18 levels in the data flow diagram. In the data flow diagram, we have 2 models. We have Sasson model and we have Jordan model. Both models were introduced in 1979, and only the symbols are different. Objective, purpose, function is the same. There are 4 main elements in the data flow diagram. We have entity. The entity is the thing that can be uniquely identified, and it could be internal, it could be external. The process is the main functions of the system. Then we have data flow, the information that flows from one process to another process. Then we have data store, is like database where the information is stored. Let's see the symbols. The Sasson symbols are, the process symbol is like this. Then we have entity symbol, we have data store symbol, we have data flow symbol. In case of Jordan, we have process symbol is like a circle, entity, data store, data flow. So these are the main symbols of Sasson and the Jordan style. There are rules to draw data flow diagram. Like process must have input and output. It is not possible that process has input and there is no output. It is not possible that process has output and there is no input. More than one output, more than one input, that is possible. One input, one output, that is also possible. DFD doesn't allow the process has more than one inputs and no output, and one or more outputs and no input. Data cannot pass from data store to process and then back to process without processing at the same time. So this is some rules. Data cannot pass from entity to data store or entity to entity or data store to entity directly without passing through a process. So these are rules regarding the entity. Regarding data store, data cannot pass from data store to data store without passing through a process. It must pass through a process. Let's take an example of data flow diagram. We have an institute ABC, for example. It has developed an exam generation information system that will randomly generate question papers from the exam bank. The administrator has the rights to generate paper. The student will select his ID and name to submit the answer. The system will record the student answers and evaluate them against the actual answers. The system will evaluate the marks and store in a temporary result database. The lecturer will log on to the system and enter the questions and verify the results. So these are the example of system. So we have lecturer, we have student, we have admin. This is the online exam evaluation system or online exam generation system, for example. So level 0, the context is the first diagram, that it just shows the main process and the main entities. Main process, main entities, and the data flow is there. There is no need of data store. And then in the level 1 or level 0, if that is level 0, we call it level 1. If that is context diagram, then we call it level 0. So we have process, exam question prepare, exam set questions, modify questions, subject leader, generate exam paper, exam admin, paper proofreading, approve paper, and so on. So we have entities, we have process, we have data store, like we have temporary questions, then we have answers, and then we have the approved paper. So in this way, these are the main processes. We have subject leader that will approve the questions. So, and then we have approved questions, data store is there. So this is about the today's lecture. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum.